Hola, and welcome once again to the Schaefer Small Engine Shop and Two Car Garage. Today I'm working on this monolith from 2001 A Space Odyssey. Now the first thing I've done is add some Mickey Mouse ears to it, and we'll see where it goes from that. Okay, it's not the monolith from 2001. It's an upside down, standing on its rear end, zero turn mower. This mower was given to me by my friend Craig. Craig had ridden a new mower that one of his friends had, and he said, I'm thinking about buying a new Exmark. And I said, Craig, you're 80 years old. If you're gonna buy a new mower, if you want a new mower, it's time to go ahead and make that move and get a new mower. So he did, and he gave me the old one, which he brought over here, and it had some issues with it when it came. I'm trying to work on it, but the blades wouldn't turn. It had two flat front tires, and so I've done some work on it, and I'll show you what it's all about. Hang on, we'll take a look at the unit first. This is an Ariens Zoom 34. It's got a 14.5 horse Briggs IC engine, cast iron bore, electric start, does not have an oil filter. This power built Briggs engine is not the creme de la creme of Briggs engines, but they're durable, and the camshafts don't explode on them, so it's done a good job. Big single cylinder 500cc engine. It's 34-inch cut, which is perfect for a residential neighborhood mower. This is supposed to fit through a standard gate. I don't have a standard gate, but anyway, that's supposed to be its claim to fame, fit through a gate. And they're nice little mowers. I've used this before, and it's got some things that are a problem when you stand it up on the end. To stand any of these mowers up on the end, the first thing you got to do is pull the battery. You don't want battery acid dripping all over everything. Then you got to drain the oil, because you don't want the oil all going down to the top of getting into the cylinder where it'll hydrolock it. So I've drained the oil, pulled the battery. Then the gas tank, you'll notice here's the bottom of the gas tank, and here's the filler nozzle. And when you turn it up like this, you got to drain the gas out of it. And I had a plastic trash bag on there to seal it off, and it didn't seal very well. And I already had it up, and so to drain the gas out of it, I had to open the thing, get a 5-gallon bucket underneath it, and it made a huge mess. Thank goodness Mrs. Small Engine Shop was not here when that happened. But we got the gas out of it finally, and it's cleaned up, and I'll show you what else I've done to it so far. when it came over to live here, both the front wheels were flat, and they were tube tires. So I was going to refill them, but the valve stems were only sticking out about 1/4 of an inch, and they had the caps on them. So in an attempt to get the valve stem out where I could put air in it, the valve stems on both wheels disappeared inside the wheel. So the solution there is to buy new wheels, which is what I did. These are solid rubber wheels. I'm not going to have that inflation problem again. Put the wheels on, and I've got some braces here to keep this thing from falling on me and killing me while I'm underneath it. The new wheels came with some spacers, and I used the spacers to make sure the wheel is centered in the two braces there that hold the wheel, and I got this one on just fine. When I went to work on the second one, took it off, I noticed that the little centerpiece that I thought was part of the bearing was actually removable, and that's what you use to center the wheels up. Not knowing that, I had gone to the Home Depot and bought a lifetime supply of washers with a 1/2 inch hole in them. That's what I was going to use as spacers to center the wheels. But it turned out I didn't need the lifetime supply of washers. Once I figured out that this center tube came out, then I could use the supplied little spacers like like there, to center the wheels. So I got both the wheels on, and the wheels spin fine, and that part of it is fixed. The main problem is down here below, and we'll go over to the bench and I'll show you what the problem was. This is the clutch that came off that mower, and it's the reason why the blades wouldn't spin. The clutch is complete junk, burned up to a crisp. This is the clutch that I'm replacing. I've used these extreme clutches 3 to 4 times, and they are terrific, very well made, replaceable bearings in them. And I've taken the new clutch, I've already slipped it on, but it looks to be an exact fit. I had another clutch that did not work quite right. It looked like this. It had a triangular piece on it, and it just would not fit on this mower. But this new one I've got looks like this, and it appears to be identical to the original clutch. While I had the mower standing up on its rear end, with the help of my neighbor Mark, who's out doing his yard right now. He'll be over here in a minute. I like to coat all the decks with this rubberized undercoating that you get at Harbor Freight. It does a terrific job of keeping grass from sticking to your deck, keep your deck from rotting. It's a terrific product for this application. And of course I took both the blades off and sharpened them too.
All right, we're down here looking at the clutch. This is the clutch. It just slips on. It's got a built-in key inside the clutch, and the key, of course, aligns with the keyway that's cut into this pulley. So I slathered the pulley with anti-seize, and it just slipped right on there. And I'll show you, before I bolt this thing on, I'll show you something that I learned about working on these motors with these electric clutches. When the belt is loose, particularly if you're working on a garden tractor type, these belts can be hard to keep on these pulleys while you're working on the top pulleys. So I found when the belt is off, you just take a rubber band and put it across there, and that rubber band will hold the belt on the pulley. And of course, as soon as the motor starts, it tears the rubber band to pieces, but that's what you want. Makes it a lot easier to install a belt. And I did that on this mower also while I had it standing up. So I'm going to go ahead now and put the bolt in that secures the clutch to the pulley, and it has to be torqued down, very specifically torqued and not put on with an impact wrench. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is coat it with special sauce here. I don't want it coming off. This is blue Loctite, and it is removable. And the instructions say use 45 foot-pounds of torque, and I've got my click torque wrench set to about 45 pounds. The last time I did this, I couldn't get anywhere near 45 foot-pounds of torque. Let's see how this goes. I'm not having any luck at this either. It's turning the crankshaft of the engine. I think I can get in there to stop that. Put a vice grip on it or something. It's pretty dadgum tight. I'm going to turn you off a minute and see if I can put a pair of vice grips on that pulley. All right, I got vice grips on the pulley. Now let me see if I can get this thing anywhere near that torque spec. It's tightening. Hadn't heard a click. And pulley is slipping. Let me tighten these vice grips a little bit. I don't know how tight we are, but that's tight enough. That's all we're going to do. Now, I've got two braces that go here and here, and I need to put them in, and then I think we'll be ready to get Mark over here. Flip this thing, flip it up. So I'm gonna turn you off for a minute here while I get these braces done. I've got the two braces in place. All I've got to do is tighten them up. Tell you, you take things apart, they come apart pretty easily, and you go to put them back together, and sometimes they just don't fit. These two braces, I had to grind the ends on them to get them to come back in here to fit. Like, I've seen plastic parts swell up where they wouldn't go back together, but never steel parts like this. But these, there is no way in the world they were going back there. So I ground off the ends on them a little bit. They fit in now. All right, that's all tight, and I believe we're ready to flip this thing back up on its feet. Of course, when I'm turning the pulley, it turned the motor over some and belched oil out from somewhere. I don't know. The spark plug is in it. Oh, maybe that came out of the valve cover. We'll find out when we set the thing up, but that's really what I was trying to avoid is getting a bunch of oil in the upper cylinder of this thing. So it could be a challenge to get it started. We'll find out later. All right. This is my neighbor, Mark. Mark supplies the muscle behind the Schaefer Small Engine Shop and two-car garage. He does the muscle work, I do the brain work. Now we're fixing to set the obelisk up on its wheels. Ready? Yeah. Got it? Oh, we're there. Oh, and it does freewheel. Okay. I found a little levers underneath it to make it free. That's all I need. See, thank you very much. Yeah, it's hot. Yes, it is. Now, I'm ready to start the reassembly, battery, oil, etc. I'm going to turn you off here. Well, I'm making some headway. I've got the battery back installed. It's got this little strap that holds it in place. And if it's not the worst design in the world, it'll do. You have to get underneath it with a socket to tighten the holder down. It's ridiculous. Now I'm working back here to make sure that the wiring goes to the clutch, which is here, is well away from any moving part. And of course the power's gone out, so all my shop lights are out. And I've got this crappy light from Home Depot, from Harbor Freight, that just never seems to fold in the right direction, so that's what I've got to use. I'll carry on. Hark! It is no longer dark, and the lights are back on. So we're making progress. Looks like it's okay. Let me shut you off. I'll put the spark plug in it. Go get some gas, and we'll see what we got. Somebody asked me one time why I had my name stenciled on this gas can. And there's a simple reason for that. If you're riding an enduro that's got 500 riders and you've got a gas stop and you've got 500 gas cans out there, it's very nice to have your name on your gas can so you'll know exactly whose it is. All right, we put some gas in it. The plug's not in it yet. I'll crank it so the fuel filter fills up.
must already be full.
Let me put the plug in. And we'll give her a run. As we say down here in Dixieland, it's time to fish or cut bait. I'm sure the buffler is full of oil. Here we go. She's loud and she rattles. What? She's cutting. Thanks for watching.